And we will be sending out the replay link shortly after the call today. So feel free to listen to it again, share it with other people. If you have any questions, you can also use the chat box, which is available. We hope to talk about 20 minutes and give everyone time to ask questions towards the end, but if you have some questions during the course of the presentation, just feel free to put something there in the chat box, and we'll certainly make it everyone aware of the questions that's being asked. So first off, though, I do want to bring to your attention some of the activities that we have planned for this remaining part of the year. And we are actually coming up on our last segments for November. We generally are dark in December. And for now, today's talk, obviously, which is about technology, next month's talk is going to be all about getting prepared for next year. And we have a fantastic speaker, Dr. Lois Frankel, who has written several books and has the opportunity to share with us some of her wisdom about how to get that corner office. Feel free to come to our website. As you can see, it's sliding through there. And you can sign up for any of the classes that we have scheduled, as well as reading some of our blogs. We will start again after the November talk in January, and so we will be posting that up there in the next few weeks. Keep an eye out, too, also, because we are updating our website. We're really excited about it because we're focusing on our ability to really communicate with everyone about what it is that we do and how we do what we do. And so we're pretty excited about the messaging as well as the ability to be a little bit clear about what we do. We're happy that we've been in business now for 5 years, 5.5 years, and are pretty excited to continue to expand and build upon what we are doing. We just started actually a series on Beyond the Piggy Bank, the investing essentials of investing. We often hear from a lot of people who want to know, even if they have been investing for a while, some very basic kinds of questions, but also some that are a little bit more deep as well. So that session just started this past Monday, and we have it over a 6-series session. So if anyone is interested, we will be taking it down after this week so that the next sessions will be available after the first of the year. All of those sessions are also recorded, so we can send you the replay link to listen to it again, and because there's a little bit of homework with it, it will give you the opportunity to really participate in that process. And we do like it to be very interactive as well. So with that said, I'm going to introduce our speaker, Miss Zenobia Millet, who is our well-known, and for many of people who are on the call, you'll know that she has been a speaker with us for several sessions. And we're really excited to have her back to talk about something that, even though we discussed this several months ago, is very timely given the things that have happened here recently. So the cloud is, kind of, it's a concept that probably not a lot of us are very, very familiar with. But if you have an email, then you're in the cloud. And even before it became very popular, it was, being in the cloud allowed us to be able to access our information, whatever it is, from wherever we are. So before I turn it over to Zenobia, I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up about her. She has a background as a recording engineer, a sales engineer, and the first female member of the Sapphire Group, which is a society of audio pioneers, engineers, and audio enthusiasts. She's also an award-winning interactive multimedia producer, just to name a few. She's merged her passions and 30-plus years of experience together to bring you the touchable Tech Diva. And to learn more about her, you can check out her Tech Diva and Luxury Lifestyle online TV show at techdivatv.com, and you can visit her Facebook page. We'll have all of that information towards the end of the presentation, and everyone will get the slides that we have today to share. Just recently, though, Zenobia has taken her experience and her connections to another higher level. She is now a collaborator with Innovate Pasadena, a consortium which promotes technology, science, design, and entrepreneurship within Pasadena's flourishing ecosystem. So her world of technology, her mad passion for jazz, and the pursuit to live passionately dominates most of her time. She's the mother of two gorgeous women, and I have met one of them, and I can definitely tell you that she's absolutely gorgeous. And Nana Z, which is her nanny name, has 5 equally gorgeous grandchildren. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Zenobia.
Well, thank you so much. You know, it's interesting when you hear someone talk about your life. Because you don't normally hear that back. But thank you so much. And congratulations on a big 5 years. That's a milestone.
Thank you.
Yes. So, okay, everybody's kind of involved and wondering about hackers and about, if our data is safe. As Renee mentioned, we've all kind of been in the cloud already for a lot of years. It just wasn't called that. So inevitably, it's touched your life or your business. And just think about the times that you've gone into a bank or gone to the doctor, to a medical facility, actually even walked into a store to buy something, and any school, they've had their data in the cloud for a long time. We just didn't see it. It was transparent to us. But now it's coming to the point where we're generating data, and we got to have some place to put all of that because it won't all fit on a thumb drive. And so now we really have to look at ways of actually accessing our data, and because we're going to continue to generate some. So even as we synchronize our computers and our mobile devices wirelessly, we're relying on the cloud to effortlessly keep us organized, which is kind of tough, but that's one way that we do end up keeping ourselves organized. Okay, so what is the cloud anyway, and why should we really care? Well, I've got kind of my simple definition of the cloud. There's all kinds of technical names for it, but I'm trying to break it down to where it's understandable. And it's basically storage of data and applications, those programs that run all your stuff, on computers off premises. That means away from you. That can be increased or scaled with needs. So the more you need more space, it's scalable, and it just gets added. Now, you may end up having to pay for it, but at least you can continue to get more space. Unlike you at home or in your business, if you have a computer or even a laptop, or you have, a whole series of computers, once the memory is used up on those computers, you have to either go out and buy some more memory or buy other computer systems. So this way with the cloud, it prevents you from having to spend additional monies on hardware and software. So I'm going to get into that in a little bit. And then the more technical definition is it's a set of servers or bunch of computers. This picture has a lot of computers. That's a lot of servers right there. And they're specifically used to store your data files and the applications, as I mentioned before. And they're expandable, so the expansion happens there as opposed to in your facility. And the big difference with this is that it's accessed via the Internet, by us uploading and downloading, being able to upload and download. So you must have an Internet connection to access that because it's not on premises. Okay, so there's a couple of different versions of the cloud. Basically, I'll talk about uses later. That's a whole different thing. But here you have the public cloud, and then you have the private cloud. So the real quick difference is that with the public cloud, we're going to use a third party, what we call a third-party service, that will provide the space, the storage, and as I just mentioned, it's scalable, so you can get as much as you want. And then you can access, as I said, again, anywhere from someone else's computer, from a tablet that has internet access, even from your cell phone, you can access your cloud account so that you can be able to upload and back up your data or actually download it, and you can actually have others to access that if you give them the access. Also, aside from just storing, there are now applications that are stored for you to access there. So for instance, if you are using Microsoft Word or any of the Office products, there's actually versions that are made for the cloud that you can now use, so you don't have to necessarily have them resident on your computers, and I'll talk about that in a little bit too. Typically, public clouds will give you free storage up to a certain amount. And after that, they tend to be fee-based, and I'll talk about that in a little bit also. The private cloud, though, is in-house. So if you are like a solopreneur, you might have your computer set up so that you can have external hard drives attached to your computer that can act as an in-house server. And then, of course, enterprises and larger businesses may have a whole area of their business dedicated to servers, which is in-house. So they're accessed, again, either through the network, but the really important thing is that it's within a firewall, so it's controllable in terms of who has access and for security reasons. Okay, so some of the uses of the cloud, and you're quite familiar with that, is that you need to have some place to store your videos. You need to have some place to store your contacts. Say, for instance, you have your cell phone, you have a tablet, you have a laptop. I've had clients where I've gone to them, they have a bag. You know, we're becoming bag women. Well, I guess we always were, but because now they're full of all these different devices. So the cloud allows us some freedom from being quite the bag lady, because you can store this information and use it to synchronize your devices so that you don't have to go back home and have to download or copy it over. Now you can access it at the through the cloud. And as you can see, there's different documents, all your pictures, your files, your contacts. It's a place where you can centrally store all of that and be able to access it remotely. So it's really just a bunch of hard drives. If you can think of a bunch of hard drives, a bunch of thumb drives or DVDs that you have full of data, now you can put all of that onto the cloud and release some of your backspace for real fun goodies. Okay, so the other application for the cloud that comes up a lot now is called Software as a Service, or SaaS, S-A-A-S. You may see that someplace. And this is considered cloud computing. And with cloud computing, you can now save yourself from having to spend all that money on buying software. Okay, so you know, if you buy Microsoft Office, they can get you for $400 or $500 sometimes if you get the professional versions. And so this way now they've designed it so that it's usable on the cloud, and you no longer have to spend a lot of the money for buying these applications, and also the maintenance, and also all of the updating. So that kind of saves you from all of that by using the clouds. And it's gotten pretty good now. At first I didn't trust the cloud very much because a lot of what was there in terms of the applications was missing a lot of functionality that you normally have with the full version. But now it's gotten very sophisticated. So as I have here, so instead of purchasing and installing applications on every computer like you normally would have to do, you pay a subscription fee that allows you to use that software online. So in most cases, it's not downloadable to your computer, and you just have an internet connection, and again, you can use it wherever you are in terms of having an internet connection. You can always log on. So real quickly, here's some of the pros. It's always current because they keep it updated. So you don't have to worry about updating anymore. You don't have that high purchase price where you have to fork over $300 or $400 at one time. The maintenance cost and updating is drastically reduced. Also, you have fewer installation issues because, as I mentioned, it's always updatable, and it uses a browser, which is very, very simple. The subscription fee is very tolerable. It's not very high, typically, because they want you to do that. They actually don't want to have you to buy software anymore. That's where it's going, and this is where it's going to be, so you might as well kind of get used to it. And again, as I mentioned, it's available anywhere you have an internet connection. Okay, the cons is that, yeah, you don't own it, and sometimes it's limited in the customization where you can actually customize it for your application. That's rather limited. And again, as I mentioned, you have to have an internet connection to use it. But all in all, I think that now with it becoming a lot more sophisticated, it's a lot more user-friendly. And we are everywhere, so we need to be able to have access to our data everywhere as well. Okay, so now some of the, as I mentioned, there are free services. Here's some pictures of some of the ones that are free up to a point. You have your iCloud, which offers you like 5 gigs, which a lot of people think, oh, yeah, I've got all this free storage. No, they only give you 5 gigs. If you have 4,000 pictures on your phone, that will get used up really, really quickly. And then you're wondering why you can't save anymore. It's because you've used that up, or they're asking you to now pay to buy some more storage. So that's why, it's because they only give you 5 gigs. That's not very much. And again, there's Google Drive. Now, Google Drive is a bit more forgiving because you get a lot more that's free. The other icon is for Dropbox and Box. They all kind of give you a token amount of space because they want you actually to pay. So when you hit that certain quota, they will send you a nice email that says, it looks like you're about to hit your quota, or you hit your quota, and so therefore you have to pay this fee for maybe 10 gigs or 20 gigs, whatever it is. And then, of course, you can have the premium services where it's fee-based off the bat, and then you end up getting a lot more functionality, customization, and a lot more flexible features in terms of who can access it and what you can do with the data. So in that regard, if you're doing a lot of heavy computing, then you might want to consider using and just paying the premium service. A lot of times it starts out like $10 a month or something like that, so it's not super, super expensive. Okay, now some of the things you might have to you do need to keep in mind, especially in light of Equifax and the hacking that happened with our credit reporting agencies, which I have a long story to tell about that. That's for another blog that I'm going to give to Renee to upload to her website, so you can get my take on the whole Equifax debacle. But again, you have to take some of your security into your own hands also, and I'll blow through this pretty quickly because I'm almost out of time. But for the most part, yes, they do take it seriously. Some will do a lot more seriously than others, but minimally you should look for the lock. Now, if you look here up at the top in the address bar, you see the lock next to Start Meeting. That way you know that it has at least good basic security, and I would say that all the cloud services do, because they want your business. If they don't, then you will go find someone who you feel more comfortable with and more trustworthy. So they want your business. They're going to work really hard to keep your business. Also, a couple of quick points. Read through the terms of service. Now, granted, some of them are 50 pages, but you need to scan through because that's going to tell you what they will or won't do with your data. So every now and then it's good to read terms of service. And the big thing for me is your data on the cloud is as safe as your internet connection. So if you're using someone's computer and you don't know how good their antivirus is, or if they use it, or if it's up to date, you want to be mindful of, just because you can access your data with a browser, you want to be mindful of, you know, what computer, what system, and if that is up to date with their virus protection. And again, frequent backups are really important. Your sensitive information, I would suggest that you back up on either an external drive or a thumb drive or something else, so you have that and access. So in light of the hurricanes and the fires, you want to be able to access some of your sensitive data because you might not have electricity for 6 months, like is what's happening in certain places. But you want to be able to get to some of your data to be able to get yourself back online. Okay, I just have a couple more. I think I actually went over my minutes. I have a couple more things. If you go to the next one, Renee, in the past I've done a password management webinar. Password management, again, you want to be able to put that in place because that is important about securing your access to your data. So because, of course, you have to have a password. Everything is passworded, so you have to have a good password. And that's something that you can do in your own hands. And then another thing real quick is two-factor verification, so that it's a second layer of verification. So if someone does hack your account and they only have your main password with two-step verification, they won't get very far because they won't typically have that information, and you will. And then just real quickly, the advantages, of course, and some of your considerations is if you need additional storage, if you need to access it because you're a world traveler, go ahead on and enjoy yourself and travel. Okay. And then also, of course, synchronizing your data and all your devices. And here's real quickly for me, I do all kinds of workshops. I'm accessible. So if you do have questions that we don't get to today, you can actually email me, but then also I'll do private consultations because sometimes this was 20 minutes. And sometimes it takes a lot more, and I'm a very patient person, and I work very well with my clients in terms, because this is hard stuff to understand. So I'm really good about taking time and going at your pace, either in person, by Skype, Google Hangout, or however you want to do it. And my calendar is accessible. You'll be able to do that in the notes in the slides later. And if you're in the LA, Pasadena area, I have a big event coming up. It's called Tea, Tech, and Tequila. We're rethinking networking. So if you happen to like tea, if you happen to like technology, if you happen to like tequila, come on over. It's in Pasadena. There's some information there, and you can email me for additional information. It's coming up this Tuesday during Innovate Pasadena Week, and it's going to be really, really fun. Thank you very much. And all of my, oh, yeah, and then you can buy products for me as well for my online store. And because I've vetted these products, so you don't have to spend a lot of time trying to figure out what to buy. Just call me up, hit me up, and I'll help you with your choices. And I think the last slide will have all of my how you get in touch with me kind of stuff. Oh, boy. This is a big topic. There's a lot to squeeze in 20 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. That was a lot of information, as always, you've got some great content for us. And for any of you who have any questions, please feel free to use your chat box to ask any questions. And Zenobia will certainly be able to answer. So there is one question. Can you erase pictures that have been stored on the cloud?
Yes. Yes, you can
Okay.
delete.
So that you can create more space. So
Exactly.
is that just a matter of clicking on it and then being able to get the option to delete, or selecting several items, whether it's pictures or documents?
Any of your data. Right, exactly. Typically, it's set up in a file folder structure, so you can set up folders. So when you go to those folders and, find your pictures, then you can just click on them and delete them. And then that does, you're right, free up space to fill up again.
Great, great. So if you erase them from your phone or computer, will it automatically erase it from the cloud? So for example, like, with Apple, you'll have them on your phone, and then they automatically get saved. If you have your settings set up, it will automatically save it in the cloud. So if you erase them off of your phone, will it do it automatically in the cloud?
Well, different ones do it different ways. Typically, you'll have to go to the cloud application on your phone. So, for instance, all the mobiles they have an app. Like the iPhone has the iCloud app, and the Android phones, they have their app too in the Google Play Store. So there you can erase those there without it impacting your phone, okay? And vice versa, if you have it backed up, if you have your mobile device backed up, you can safely delete it from your phone.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. We have another question. How do you get Microsoft Office in the cloud?
Okay, with Microsoft Office, now a lot of the ISPs or your hosts, your email hosts, actually offer that as another service. So, for instance, if you, whoever is hosting your email or your website, they'll typically offer that, and it's called Office 365. Or you can just go to the Microsoft website. Okay, and you can access it there as well. I think
so that's
I have it.
That's
and
the subscription-based
sometimes
one?
it's included with, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's called Office 365, and it has the spreadsheet. It has the, the Word document, all of those.
Very cool. So, yeah, because we have the Office 365, but we already had, all of the programs on our desktop already. So,
right.
We was like, okay, should we do this? Should we do that? Okay.
Well, I will say one thing, that Office 365, it can be a little bit different from the full-on desktop versions. Because, for instance, if you're a business, you can buy the professional level of Office or the business level. And I know I haven't needed those, but I have Office 365. It came with one of my new email domains that I got, and it's a different version. It's a little different, so you need to really investigate which one you really need if you need to have a professional version versus a regular one. So you just do a little bit more research, because they're going to all be on the cloud, because they don't want to make this anymore.
Okay. And just for our last few minutes here, I mean, this whole situation with Equifax obviously was just horrendous, especially given the fact that it had been going on for quite some time. I mean, here we are, little regular people with our little pictures and some documents, and we have stuff in the cloud too. What was it that happened there that they couldn't see that we should be able to manage on our own? I mean, are we just as safe by, having our own cloud-based platforms if we do some of the things that you say, like two-factor authentication? And how come a big organization that is so cloud-based couldn't have figured out what was going on?
Sloppy.
Okay.
just really kind of sloppy. And sometimes it's a bit like it's not going to happen to me, that we actually do ourselves too. So what happened with the Equifax, the first problem for me that I have, I'm real passionate about this, and I have to get you my blog, my perspective on this.
Yes, please do.
The first problem was that there's been an era in the last 8 or 9 years of corporations and enterprises using what's called open software. Okay, and open software is like free software that you can get for free and then build on it however you want. The problem with that is that it's not supported, it's not customized to you, and it's like, okay, the disclaimer is, yeah, you can use this all you want, but we're not responsible for anything else that happens with it, and we're not responsible for updating it. So what they've done is they've built up their whole ecosystem on this open source, which had so many vulnerabilities, and it was easy for people to find the vulnerabilities out there, which is what happened. So in a way, they did not employ, they're not getting ahead enough, and a lot of companies aren't, to where they're re-examining what they've built their whole infrastructure, software infrastructure on, which is our livelihood, because they decide what kind of house we live in, if we have a car, if we get to go to school. Exactly. And they need to really redo that whole structure and go back to putting it on customized software again, what we call the closed garden, so that it's a lot harder for it to be hacked into. And then they were just lazy, because the first time with them at least happened in March. And then the same vulnerability happened again in September. That's unexcusable.
Yeah.
So they didn't take care of it the first time. And we can't do anything. We're at their mercy. The only thing because it's our credit reporting, but what we can do, which I didn't mention, was we can encrypt our own files. So our sensitive files, you can email me if you really want to know how to do that, and I'll email you back. Is we can individually encrypt. Like, for instance, if you're using QuickBooks or Quicken, you want to encrypt that. That means password it, so nobody can open it without the password. That means you have to keep track of the password, but you can password that, and then you can upload it to the cloud and download it to the cloud, and whoever you have whoever's downloading has to have the password. So those
well, we'll have to have you on another session to talk about that, because, unless you're completely not on the Internet, everything is pretty much in the cloud in one form or fashion. So even if you are not actively, on the Internet or in the cloud, the businesses and the vendors and the retailers, like you said, healthcare providers,
your data
they're there, utility companies. So everything is out there. So really being able to protect ourselves, I think, is huge. So with that, I really want to thank you. As always, you have great content, fantastic information, and we will definitely have you back on here.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll look for the blog.
I'm so happy to share this.
Yes, and we're happy for you to share it as well. So we will definitely, for everyone that's on the call today, you will get the slides, as always mentioned, and so the slides will have the hyperlinks that will take you directly to Zenobia, so you can ask her questions or sign up for any of her sessions, because she does help people. We have people all across the country that are on the call today, if you want to work with her on, meeting some objectives. Just a couple other things I want to mention here. Also, Pasadena seems to be the hot spot. Diane and I will be speaking at the Bloom Again Women's Career Conference here at the end of the month. And actually, our speaker for next month is the founder of Bloom Again, which is Dr. Lois Frankel. And Dr. Frankel, as I mentioned, has written several books. She is amazing. She's written the one that a lot of people know, Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office, as an example. But she also has a number of other fantastic books. So please put that on your calendar. Also, if you are available to come to the Women's Career Conference, all the money that goes in is to help Bloom Again, which is a nonprofit that helps women who are experiencing some health challenges and do not have a lot of money. They provide everything from paying their rent to providing transportation to and from their medical appointments, to even helping to have someone to watch their children. So coming out and support, and we will be giving a talk on Invest Like a Girl. So with that said, I want to thank everyone for being on. Have a fantastic rest of the month. Thank you, Zenobia, and we look forward to hearing from you guys in November.